when I was younger and I was the only Asian to play in this team in Sunday League when I was playing. I think I was the only Asian to play in the league itself. Um, so, I'd get racial abuse nearly every other game. It'd be how it was. So I kind of tried to deal with it. I was young at times, so I used to retaliate at times. I had the backing up of teammates though, which was really good.
As an athlete who'd been on the team and competing internationally for almost 20 years, to not see, a senior leader of someone who looked like you, the same colour as you, or close to the same colour as you, was highly disappointing, especially considering, consistently a lot of the medals always came from the Black athletes, whether it was a sprint, whether it was a distance, whether it was the combined events, the jumps. It doesn't matter what it is. So it's like, well, where does it stop? Like, where do the opportunities come through? Like, what does the pathway look like? And then speaking to the various Black coaches over the years, just seeing how you'd hear the same consistent story. They get to a certain point right before senior management, and then when a position potentially became free, such as head coach or performance director, a lot of the Black coaches wouldn't even be asked for an interview, but a lot of them would apply.
From the age of 16, 17, I started my football coaching career, and I went out and I started coaching, and I went to coach near my area, which was predominantly white area, so never had many South Asians there or anything like that. So I was coaching there, my first coaching session, and I had about 10 kids there. There was no Asian kids. There was no mixed race kids, nothing like that, right? And as I was coaching, I'm always looking at the door to see if anybody's turning up late or anything else. And as I looked over, there was a couple, and they brought two kids. So I was obviously had one eye on the kids I already had. So I was like, okay, kids, carry on moving the ball, keep the ball close to your feet, and they were doing that. So I went back, and then they'd gone, that couple. So I was like, oh, okay, have they gone? And the one guy who was sitting there, one of the other parents said, yeah, they've gone. And I went, oh, okay, fine. Never thought anything of it. So finished the session and everything else. And then I went back to that parent that I asked. I said, oh, do you know why they went? Because they came and they went. Did they think they turned up too late? And he was really embarrassed to say to me, and he went, to be honest, Nilesh, it's because they asked me who the coach was, and I said, it was you. And they said, what, the Asian guy? And I said, yeah. And I said, yeah. And he went, and they went, Asians can't coach football, let's go. And they left because of the colour of my skin.
The change for me, I think, is that people are expressing it, and there is a lot more conversation around racial trauma, its existence in terms of stress, in terms of how, our humanity is just attacked by microaggression upon microaggression. To be asked that every single time, but where are you really from, in all your different work contexts, it kind of wears you down and has an impact. But in terms of where we are now, I'd say, Lauren, I think that, for a lot of people who've bottled up the traumas that they've had in the past, there is a space to hear other people's and think, I'm not alone in this, and that also that it's wrong, and that it has a psychological and mental health impact on people of colour, in varying ways, but it does have an impact.
There was a lot of microaggressions that I would also face. There was a lot of hindrance of just being Black, because people would assume that, when you're selected for the relay team, the management would be like, well, the team can't be too black because it's not a full representation of Britain. Whereas if all the black athletes are the fastest, like, you only work with what you've got. But you imagine being that quick and being some of the fastest athletes in the world, but because managements are white and they get the final say, they're like, well, we need to. It's about optics. So if we're on the back papers the next day, because we've won a medal, we want to be seen as Great Britain. And to them, it was like being black and having a full black team wasn't good enough.